Hey everybody, it's Tommy again. Today I'm going to be making some Peruvian chicken. It's a Peruvian style chicken that is my recipe, but I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to do it on the smoker so I can get it nice and juicy. Then I'm going to try to finish it on the grill so I can get it crispy and try to replicate the rotisserie process that of course I don't have, but hopefully this will make it close and tasty. Okay, so we're talking about Peruvian chicken here. One of the things about Peruvian chicken that we like so much is that it is very tender and very juicy on the inside. And the way you get that to happen when you're making chicken of any kind is it starts with a brine. Brine is really simple. It's a ratio combination of liquid, salt, and sugar. Think gallon and cup. If you get those two things down, you're good to go. Because every brine is basically 2 gallons of liquid, 2 cups of kosher salt, and a cup of sugar or another sweet component. You can get experimental and creative too. The thing you have to remember is that ratio that we talked about, the liquid, the salt, and the sweet element. Anything that you add to that already has any of those elements in it will throw off your ratio. So be very careful and judicious on what you do. Let's say that you wanted to add some chicken broth to your brine. But if you've already added a cup or 2 cups of kosher salt, as I said before, what happens when you add chicken broth many times? It has salt in it, and so you throw off your ratio. So buy chicken broth that does not have salt in it, or a low sodium option. Let's say that you want to add some honey to your brine, but you've already added your sugar. So what happens? You throw off your ratio. Be sure to take off the amount of sugar if you're going to add honey. Look at honey as a substitute for sugar. All right, so get ready to make the brine now. It's really simple. I have in here only what I need. I don't need a full 2 gallons, even though that's the ratio amount. I'm going to cut my ratio in half. So I have a gallon of water in here. I'm going to go with a cup of kosher salt, and I'm going to go with a half a cup of brown sugar. I like to add some wine in my brine. Now, I recommend a dry Pinot Grigio is a good option. The acidity that's in it, it almost tastes like it has a lemon kind of note to it, and it goes really well with chicken. So what I'm going to do is open up my wine here. Nice wine bottle opener here. Remember, I have a gallon of liquid in here, but I'm going to add wine. I don't want to throw my ratio off, right? I want to add 2 cups of wine, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract out 2 cups of my water so that I can make room in my ratio for 2 cups of wine. 1, 2. That's going to give it a great flavor. For my dry components, get my cup of kosher salt here. Okay, there's my 1 cup of kosher salt, a half of a packed cup of brown sugar. And that's it. That's all that goes into the brine. What you're going to do now is you're going to let it sit so it dissolves and mixes it. There are some places that say that you should heat it up and boil, but I don't like to do that because it throws off my ratio again. I lose liquid. So I just like to let it sit for a little while, mix it up, and once everything is dissolved and nice and mixed, it's ready to put on the bird. This will probably sit for about half an hour. Mix it every now and again, and once you don't see any of the dry ingredients at the bottom, it's all thoroughly mixed through. Now, one thing to note about the brine is you can get creative as you want. As long as you're not messing up the ratio, you can add things like garlic, onion powder, you can add Italian seasoning, you can add basil, any fresh herb you have that you like. You can add whatever you want to this brine as long as it doesn't mess up your ratio of liquids to salts to sugars. You should be perfectly fine. I'm not going to do that, however, for this brine. Here's why. The ingredients that we put in the brine today are the most basic elemental ingredients that would go across any dish. And I want to use a brine that I don't have to commit to one particular genre of food. I want a generic brine that moistens, that sweetens, that provides some salt and some flavor, but that I can also use across dishes. I can use it in Italian food, or I can use it in Asian food, or I can use it in Peruvian chicken. It doesn't matter where I want to use it. The brine is neutral enough that it will apply across genres. And here we are at about a half an hour after letting everything just sort of sit and dissolve. And as you can see, it's clear and smooth. So our brine is ready to go. I got 2 outer grocery bags to keep it from leaking, and then 2-gallon storage bags. I put the dark meat in one and the white meat in the other. Take the brine and very carefully ladle it into each of them. There we go. You just ladle it on until it covers all the chicken. And I like to use just the right amount. I don't like to go get any more liquid in there than I have to. I'll zip it up till it's just a little bit, and then I'll displace the air, and then all the liquid goes over top of it, and then seal it shut and everything's submerged. Always wash your hands after dealing with raw meats, especially chicken and pork. Transport this to the refrigerator.
How long do you leave it in there for?
Overnight is really the bare minimum. You can leave it in there multiple days. One thing to be aware of with Peruvian chicken is that the different type of spice blend that's used. Peruvian chicken has a very distinct flavor. It's heavy on cumin, paprika, and it's a little bit sweet, so it's a little sugar and some oregano, and definitely a nice healthy portion of garlic. And those flavors coming together, a little black pepper, really create that unique flavor that we're used to eating when we go out to our favorite Peruvian rotisserie chicken restaurants. So that's what we're gonna do right now. This is about 4 teaspoons of paprika, 4 teaspoons of sugar as well, about 2 teaspoons of black pepper, about 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, 2 tablespoons of cumin, 4 teaspoons of dried garlic powder that I've rehydrated with a little bit of water. Now I have a half a cup of freshly squeezed lime juice, maybe 6 tablespoons of olive oil. And then I'm gonna mix it all up. See, it comes together very nicely, and you can start to smell all those spices. As you're mixing it, you can smell the fresh lime, all those spices coming together. It's gonna taste great on our chicken. It should, by now, have absorbed and captured all that wonderful flavor we were looking to add. But when we add our chicken to this particular marinade, that's gonna turn the flavor profile into that Peruvian flavor we're looking for. What we're gonna do is we are going to make sure to rinse each of our pieces of chicken. There's a lot of salt in brine, which does give good flavor, but if not rinsed off before cooking, it can be very excessive. Now the next thing you want to do after rinsing your chicken off is you want to pat it dry. And the reason for that is so that your marinade will stick so much better to the chicken. Now we got our chicken all patted dry and patted down. We're going to go ahead and give it a swim. Let it swim in that marinade. Breast first, one side up, one side down. Shake off the excess. A little of this will go a long way. One thing to be aware of about this marinade is that you don't want to put it on for a long time. Estimate maybe 3 hours at most before you're going to put it in your smoker or in your grill. The reason for that is there's lime juice in here. And what lime juice does is it actually cooks the meat, which is why they use it in ceviche, because it actually can cook through acidity. So there is going to be some muscle breakdown that's going on in this meat, so you don't want to leave it on for too long. Now with the thighs, what I like to do is pull the skin back, give it a dip. You want to get under that skin, get that marinade in there. I have the 2 bags of chicken breast and the chicken thighs. They got all the marinade on it, and there's just enough to get on all the pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put them back in the refrigerator. So now it's time to get it out of the fridge and get it prepared to go onto the smoker. Since we have 2 types of chicken, we have the chicken breasts and we have the chicken thighs. Chicken thighs come with their own God-given insulator, their skin. The chicken breast skin has been removed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap them with bacon, give a little protective barrier. I'm just going to take a piece of bacon here. Okay. Don't need to waste this juice. You can use it as a baste later on as long as we're cooking with it. It has raw chicken in it, but if we keep it cold and we baste it on as we're cooking at the final touch on the grill, and it'll be perfectly safe. Okay, what we're gonna be doing right now is we're gonna be checking on the temperature of the smoker. I have a roast that's been going in there since this morning, but it's at the perfect time to add the Peruvian chicken in. So I want to make sure that the temperature of the smoker is just right for the Peruvian chicken. So come on with me. We're in the 230s, about 235 right there, you can see. And that's great. So the thing is, when I add the Peruvian chicken to it, it's going to be cold meat, and it's going to drop the temperature of the smoker, and I want that temperature to stay up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a couple chunks of pecan to it, and I'm going to make sure that all 3 of my vents are fully open, and it's going to then increase the temperature because of the additional oxygen that's fueling the fire. Yeah, let's get these guys on here.
So what would someone do in the event that they want to make this dish but they don't have a smoker or rotisserie?
Smoker's the best. However, you can grill to get and use charcoal and wood chunks to get the flavors in there, and then you can slow roast it in your oven. I'm getting a full rack here. Put the lid back on. All right, get our thermometer back in. I'm gonna let this roll for about 2 hours. Okay, so you remember we had the juice that was left over from the Peruvian marinade. And I told you that we didn't have to worry about it would be safe if we were to use it as a glaze. I'm going to show you how and why. We're going to turn on our stove to high, and we are going to boil it. When we boil it, we don't have anything to be worried about because it's no longer raw at that point. So we're just going to put this in here, our remaining juice as a glaze. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we will bring it outside and use it to brush on our chicken to finish it up. Here we are back here, backyard. We're gonna go back out to the smoker where we put our chicken before. We're gonna check on it, make sure it's good to go. We're gonna take it off, and then I'm gonna finish it on a hot grill. Hot grill right here, it's going. You can see there's a hot side and a cold side, so I'm gonna sear it on there and I'm gonna baste the leftover juices that I boiled, and hopefully it's gonna turn out good. I think it'll be great. Oh, look at that chicken, guys. Doesn't that look amazing? Looking forward to seeing how it tastes. We got some nice golden color on the skin. All we have left to do now is to finish it on the grill. Before we got a hot side and a cold side. I'm gonna do them one at a time. Get it on the hot side. I wanna get like a nice crispy sear. It's already starting, it's very, very hot over here, so we're already starting to get a little char. We might lose some bacon casualties, but that's all right because the bacon has done its job and protected the meat during the smoking process. A little more basting here, mentioned before. Yeah, so you can see right now we're simulating what you get when you do rotisserie. When you do rotisserie, you get this good crispy skin. When you smoke, you get the flavor, but the skin doesn't crisp up. So I'm searing it up on the grill to get that skin nice and crispy, so it'll taste like a rotisserie Peruvian chicken. Give another final sear to our chicken breast. I'm gonna remove all the bacon. Yeah, there you have it. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. Really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. And tell you what, if you could do me a favor, if you like what you see, please, feel free to subscribe or to like, and kind of show your support and give me some comments on maybe some ideas you'd like me to try next. Thanks very much.